I started as a manual tester at Jio. Initially, I got a package of 3.6 lakhs.
3.6 lakhs.
And the plans were actually I wanted to get into government sector. So data engineering was something that excited me because it was something new also. At the focus on DSA is less compared to SDE roles.
Hello data lovers. So try to imagine a scenario that you started your career as an entry level fresher and somehow you started with a testing job profile. Then can you answer if you need to transition from this testing kind of job profile to the data engineering domain, and that too in a good product based company? How will you make this successful career transition? If you have the answers, feel free to put it in the comment section. If not, then this is the podcast which you need to listen till the very end, because our guest speaker has actually done it and she started her career into the testing job profile and now successfully transitioned into the data engineering, working in a really good product based company with a good salary package. So watch this amazing journey of our guest speaker, because she is going to share everything, how she made this transition possible, important skill set, the interview preparation, how to crack those product based firms, salaries parts, and many other important stuff. So you will learn a lot from this podcast. And another very quick announcement for all the aspiring data analyst professionals: our fast track data analyst bootcamp will be starting from 29th July, where mentors from Microsoft will be teaching you in the live classes so that you can make your successful career into the data analyst, even if you belong to any kind of job profile or any kind of profession, even including the non-tech part. So link is in the description. We have extended the window for the mega offer. Use the code launch55 and avail this amazing opportunity. Seats are getting filled really fast. All the details in the description. Hurry up and enroll. We'll see you in the live classes. Thank you so much, Samraddhi, for joining me in this podcast. Really excited to have a discussion with a very young, talented data engineer. So it would be really great if you can introduce yourself to our audience and anything about your academics and professional background.
Sure. Thanks, Shashank, for having me here. I'm really excited to join this podcast. So, talking about myself, my name is Samraddhi Gupta. I am currently working as a data engineer at Target. So, I graduated from a tier 3 college, which is a global engineering college, Jabalpur. And I started as a manual tester at Jio, and there only I got my profile switched internally to a data engineer, and right now I'm working at Target as a data engineer.
What were your plans after completing your graduation? Where and how did you get your first job, and what was your initial package?
So after graduation, I'll start a bit from the beginning. So by the final year, beginning of the final year, I was into cracking a placement. I was my only goal was cracking placements and getting placed in a good company. So by the end of final year, I got placed in around 7 companies.
Wow.
Which out of which one was on campus, and there's there were pool campuses and off campuses. So and I selected Geo. I got I had my first job at Geo. And the plans were actually I wanted to get into government sector basically, so PSUs and all. I wanted to get an IT job at a PSU. So I was preparing for the ISRO exams and BARC, SAIL, all these exams. So I thought I'll join the job and I'll prepare side by side, and then I'll get into a government job or a PSU. So, but plans got changed, and after 1 year, I started to think where exactly I want to go, and what is exactly the reason I wanted to get into government jobs and all. So, and by the time I had started liking corporate jobs, so I thought, why not just give it a try and prepare well in this sector only, so that I can excel into this sector also. So I started preparing for the companies. I started preparing for a better role. So initially when I joined Geo, I was working as a manual tester. I have worked on many different applications of Geo, mostly all the applications that you know today. I've worked on those applications, tested those applications. Then after 1 year, I got into automation testing at Jio only. So I have tested all the applications of GeoMeet. So, and after that, I thought that maybe I can find a role which is more challenging. So, I was always inclined towards development. So, and initially during my college days also, I had a bit of experience into Java. So, I that around that time, data engineering was booming a lot. Big data was something that everybody was talking about. I knew data science, so I knew that I don't want to get into this. So data engineering was something that excited me because it was something new also, and it was backed by my previous experience also. So I was good, I was good with backend development. Little bit of I had a background, so I thought why not just get into a role which is a combination of both.
Okay.
So that's how I selected data engineering and got internally into a data engineer role at Jio.
And when you started your first job, even as a tester, so how much package you got at Jio?
Initially I was working, I got a package of 3.6 lakhs.
3.6 lakhs, that too in Jio.
Yeah.
And as a tester. Wow.
Yeah.
Let's say you started as a testing background, so your mindset was like you will not continue in testing, or how basically you got to know about data engineering in Jio itself? That's like, and then the motivation to move into it.
So I was working well in the testing environment. I was creating I had worked on many applications, including the desktop ones and Android, iOS. I've written code for almost all the applications of GeoMeet. So while I was doing that, I thought that this is not like complete development, and I wanted to get into development more. Like I thought that I can maybe look for a challenging role that is more challenging, and like I said that it excited me basically. So I had a background in data. Back-end development, and data was something I liked. When I came to know about Spark, and I read about it, I found it very interesting that how the dependent how much data engineers have a dependency. Like for a data scientist to work and a data analyst to work, how much data is important, what is the importance of data, and then how much effort is required to create that pipeline which will transform that raw data to a transformed data. So that was a work which excited me, and so I thought why not try this out.
So as a fresher, what did it take you to become a skilled data engineer and crack product based companies for the same? And when I say what did it take, basically the step by step skill sets did you acquire? Because there are tons of things we can study in data engineering, but as a fresher, what minimal things you acquired and it helped you to crack the interviews?
So the most basic thing I would say, which helped me switch the job internally at Jio, was SQL and Java. I had a background in Java, so I knew that we were working on Scala. So it is basically the JVM. It works on the JVM, so that helped me. And the other thing is SQL. So these are the two basic steps, I would say, like the very basic. So if a fresher wants to get into data engineering. So after that, I would say the framework. So currently the Spark is the most required framework, most trending framework for data engineering. So that is the second thing I would say. And then I think one would be an RDBMS and one NoSQL database. So we were using Elasticsearch at Jio, and there are multiple databases, NoSQL databases like MongoDB, Cassandra, and all these things. And similarly, in RDBMS, maybe it could be Oracle, it could be MySQL, any one. So, and if I think this much is good enough to get a job as a fresher or as an intern. into big data, and if somebody wants to know more, they can get into real-time streaming and batch processing, distributed systems they can study, and Kafka. So these are the few things, and later on the skill set is you can get into cloud and stuff. So that is the thing, but these are the basic ones.
One thing is pretty much clear, like if someone do not know Python itself, still with the help of Java, Scala, they can move into it. Python is something which is just not mandatory. And from the programming perspective, right, in the interviews, how much a DSA part is required? I know you would have also received this question. And even for SQL, till which level as a fresher we need to practice SQL?
Okay, so I think whatever I have experienced from all the data engineering interviews that I've given, that the focus on DSA is less compared to SDE roles here in data engineering. So I think whatever I've experienced, most of the DSA questions lie between easy to medium level of questions. So if I talk about the topics, it would be array, string, stack, queue, and binary source tree. I don't think it extends beyond that. So these topics, if someone does, it is more than enough. And the SQL part is more focused on in case of data engineering. So they need to know the advanced SQL concepts like CTEs and rank, dense rank, all these things, window functions. So I think these kind of concepts are good if you know, and then it is easy enough to crack that.
Like, what do you do in your day-to-day job as a data engineer, and how much is it different from other data job profile? So maybe you can take this question in such a way that you need to answer it a very raw person who doesn't know much about the activities and the responsibilities of DE and how it is different from others.
So I think whatever I understand about SDE roles and data engineering roles, I think one of the aspect which is mostly different is the domain knowledge, because while you are a data engineer, you need extremely clear understanding about the requirement and the data. Like if you're working in a domain, you need to know end to end what exactly is the domain and how the columns, the data is built, and what is going to be the schema. You need to have proper knowledge of the schema as well as the functioning of each attribute in the schema. So it more like requires the domain knowledge, I would say, compared to SD roles. And then so my day-to-day life, I would say like 50% of the time, 40 to 50% of the time goes into requirement gathering, because that is really a huge part, and 30% goes into development and 20% into validation.
Okay, I
So this is basically the thing about data engineering. And my work day currently my tech stack involves batch processing. I've worked on real-time processing as well. So gathering the data and then cleaning it a bit, and then interacting with the user, and then creating the ETL pipelines around it, and then validating the data. So this is all, I think, the day-to-day life, day-to-day work of data engineer.
For a fresher, how easy or difficult is it to crack data engineering job? Also, the very first step to get into these jobs or crack the interviews, to have a good portfolio. So as a fresher, how they can add good hands-on projects or experience in their portfolio?
So as far as I understand data engineering and the hiring processes, I think they require a bit of experience. So for freshers, if we talk about, it could be in the form of internships. So I would suggest any freshers that get an internship into data engineering before looking for job after you graduate. So that would help a lot, because there are certain things that you can obviously do on by your own projects, but see, big data runs on distributed systems. So for that performance and for that kind of parallel processing, you need resources which can only be which you can only get into a company. So that kind of experience is very much required, I feel. So getting a good internship at a good company or an organization that helps you like puts you into pressure and gives you more challenges, so that you can learn easily, and then it's a better choice to get into a fresher role as a data engineering.
During job switch for the product based companies, uh, I think when you were moving from Geo to other companies, right? How did you probably get the interview opportunities? Like it was more your effort preparing good resume, LinkedIn profile, or just because of your background, you already working in Geo, you started getting interview calls. How did it happen for you?
So I think later part also plays a very important role. So I was already working as a data engineer with Jio, so that played a very important role. And then I just there was no specific reason to it, but I casually started browsing and being active on LinkedIn, because I was just exploring LinkedIn at that time, and I got to know that there are a lot of people who know much more about my domain and any other domain also. So I was just curious about things. So that's why I joined LinkedIn, and I started like reading the post, and whichever I liked, I started engaging with the post. So that happened naturally, and I guess that was one of the reasons I got multiple calls from different companies, the companies I could ever dream of. So I was really happy to get that kind of calls, because it happened very naturally. So that was not an intention, but when I see now, I think engagement, being active on LinkedIn plays a lot or makes a lot of difference. And you don't need to like always post something or the stuff, do stuff like that. You just need to be active, engaged with people who are already doing good in that domain, who are posting things, and if you like the post, you can just put a comment and then engage with people, and that's all it takes to like your profile basically gets shown to recruiters. Like the more your engagement is, the more it basically optimizes your profile when the recruiter is searching for a data engineer role, and your profile comes up as the more active you are. So that is one of the reason, I think. And I got calls from many companies, like I got calls from Google, Intuit, Amazon, Swiggy, all these companies, even like many companies, even Kareem, which is in
Yep.
Dubai, and Airbnb. So all these companies I got calls from.
If you can quickly summarize, right, since you gave interviews at multiple product based companies, at this experience level, what or how this interview is going to look like for the data engineer role at this entry level fresher? Like overall, how many rounds, and in each round, what would be the questions and the you can say overall topics will be asked by the interviewers?
So, firstly, it very much depends on what kind of technologies they are using. So, it could be completely cloud based, or it could be on premise. So, in case if it is on premise, I think the common things are the data structures and SQL. So, these are common for every interview. Second thing is the language. And so, talking about the rounds, it is firstly it is SQL and the essay round, and after that it could be discussion on projects. So projects are very important. Like if you have experience, it's good. If you don't, like I'd suggest people to make their own projects on data engineering, like pick up a simple thing. I have watched your videos also, so I know that there are a few projects that are very good for people like to include them in their resume. I've suggested people also that to go through your channel and get like an insight of data engineering projects. And then I would say after that knowledge of Spark is very important. So it is, since it is the most trending framework. So talking about topics, I would say like the basic ones, the data structures, map, filters, all these things, and then a bit of optimization techniques. That would be an add-on. Like it would really increase your chances of getting selected at a product-based company. So all Spark knowledge, and then if you have some structured streaming and Spark streaming things like Kafka and all, so that is also an add-on. So these kind of questions will be there. And then later on, later on that would be questions on what challenges did you face in your previous projects, and what was the issue that what kind of optimization techniques you used to solve your issues. So these kind of questions are very common. So I think this much is enough.
So at this experience level, if someone is targeting or switching into product-based companies, how much average compensation they can expect? I ask all like this type of question to every guest speaker, so that everyone is getting the idea about the current salary standards as well.
So I'd say, Shashank, it completely depends on the company. And for product-based companies, I would say like initial salary one could expect as 12 LPA. So that is pretty much they could expect as initial salary, and ending to anything. Like it could be, I have seen people getting 60 LPA also as a data engineer as fresher. So that is not even a question. So it could be as much as 60 LPA. So yeah. So this is the basic. I think 12 LPA is a fresher. I think with a fresher can get.
Nice number. I guess 12, 15, like good product-based companies. If you have
Yeah.
few counter offers, like your life becomes very easy. Just
Yes.
get 20, 25 LPA something sort of.
Yeah.
So very amazing. Thank you so much, Samraddhi. I guess this was really insightful from the beginner's perspective. What all things they need to focus, and a really good example how to use LinkedIn, and the way Samraddhi explained how things worked out for her actually. So thanks for being here. It was really wonderful, Samraddhi. Nice talking to you, and I hope our audience will enjoy this podcast.
Thanks, Shashank. Thanks for having me here. Had a great time. Thank you.
Awesome. So that is what I had in this amazing podcast. I hope you would have enjoyed this amazing journey of Samraddhi, that how she transitioned from the testing to the data engineering profile. And if you're also feeling motivated now, then you should also start this kind of preparation, so that successfully you can transition into the data engineering job profession. If you like this one and you find it informative, make sure to give a thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, then smash the subscribe button and press the notification icon. I will see you guys really soon with another amazing podcast. Till then, just keep exploring data.